Today, I have the genuine pleasure of speaking with one of the top critical minerals experts in the world, Alastair Neill. How are you today, Alastair?
Well, Tracy, and you?
Wonderful. And thank you so much for meeting with me to go through the Critical Minerals Institute watch list, which, of course, you're the editor and you're in charge of it. How about we start with, because it's been a few months since we've done this, with the top five. In our last CMI watch list, we had a top five. What do you think should stay, and do you think any of them should go? And I'll list them here for you. Rare earths, cobalt, copper, gallium, and uranium were on our previous top five list.
Right. Um, I still think rares obviously belong on there because of their critical nature in so many applications and the dominance of China, particularly on the downstream side when it comes to magnet production. Um, Copper, yeah, the electrification of the planet is going to demand copper, and some of the older mines are getting lower in grade, and as everyone knows, it takes time to put in new mines into production. So I think in talking with others, this could become a squeeze point in the not too distant future. Gallium, obviously, China dominates at 98% of the production. So they're really at this point in time, unless there's a shift in technology and or investment by companies to be able to reclaim gallium from sort of waste streams. Uh, that's still going to belong on the list. Uh, Uranium, there are countries, Canada, China, and others looking at small modular reactors, the SMRs. Um, to expand and match the electric demand. And as a result, uranium, I think, will stay. The only one I have a question on potentially is cobalt, um, because the only reason it's on there is it's dominated by the DRC right now. If other deposits are found that are non-conflict oriented, and I know end users are looking for that. And if there's a shift in technology, cobalt may be the one of the five that could slide.
And of course, if cobalt slides off, what would you replace it with?
My first choice would likely be tungsten. The top three countries in the world that produce tungsten is China at over 80%, Vietnam number two, and Russia number three. So again, you're dominated by countries that are maybe not the most reliable or that end use companies want to deal with. Uh, so, and tungsten has tremendous uses in, you know, tungsten carbide, which again, China dominates the production of and is widely used. The U.S. last mine in tungsten stopped 10 plus years ago. So the alternatives outside of those three countries are very, very small.
Recently, the USGS added silver and a couple of other critical minerals to their list. What do you think about silver being on the critical minerals list?
Interesting choice. The USGS group were the only people to put silver on a critical minerals list. There is a lot of production in the North America, South America, various locations. So um, it's interesting that no other country has seen fit to deem it a critical material. It does have a lot of useful applications. Compared to gold, it actually does something in a lot of applications. So therefore, it is a useful element, but Critical, I guess it would depend on how you define that because everybody's definition of critical is different. And in my mind, if it's dominated by a one supply country that is not friendly, yeah, it belongs on the critical list. If you're making most of your own production internally, I don't see why. Another example on that would be potash for Canada. We dominate the potash space. Why is it critical to us? Because we sell it everywhere.
Okay, well, for the record, we don't have potash on the CMI watch list. We don't have silver on the CMI watch list, but we have a lot of very enthusiastic silver fans on the CMI board. Do you think we'll be adding silver to our list anytime soon?
Not in the foreseeable future, in my mind, unless a bunch of other countries identify it as critical. Like just because it's on one list out of 12, in my mind, doesn't really make it critical. I think people like it because it's an investment vehicle for some. But, at the end of the day, um, we can make a lot of silver. Just ask Peter Clousey.
So, since the last time that we put out the CMI watch list, you've had a chance to review our top 24. Are there any that you would take off the list or consider taking off the list? And of course, are there any critical minerals you would consider adding to this list?
In reviewing the list, the one that potentially could come off is lithium, which will upset a lot of people who are lithium bugs. But, you know, um, the drive for EV vehicles has not been as successful as some had predicted. And also, the Chinese are now looking at a sodium-based instead of a lithium-based battery. And if that technology moves forward, um, it would have a tremendous impact on the lithium demand. I also think countries and people are recognizing that EVs are not the universal solution. You could be looking at hybrids as a much more effective design. And recently, with the US administration knocking off all the pollution limitations, then you know that will stifle in the short term application of the EV vehicle.
In reviewing the list, we were talking about how tungsten might now make the top five list, but you were also talking about another front runner, which is antimony. Can you tell us why antimony is increasingly on everybody's radar?
Antimony is one of the elements that China, again, dominates 50% of the world's production. Second producer is Tajikistan, which not many people have familiarity with. Um, and it's used for military purposes, amongst other things. So, if you want to make bullets, you're going to need antimony. So, obviously, that has received a much more heightened viewpoint from mine developers as well as investors.
So, Project Vault that Trump is talking about, in reviewing our top 24, are there any on this list that would be difficult to actually store?
Theoretically, no. It's a question of bulk, not storage capability. Some of them, if you look at copper, you may have to have a huge warehouse to store the kind of quantities that people like the DOE may want to put in to their critical materials list. That, if cerium became one of the DOE needs, you know, it's it's a massive storage for not a lot of money. So from a valuation standpoint, obviously gallium would be one of the easiest.
And Alastair will be checking in with you in the next quarter to see if lithium stays or if it goes in time for the CMI Summit 5. Thank you, Alastair.
Thank you, Tracy.